So you have heard Dr. Baldevaraj and Dr. Saraswat from the strategic sector discussing about academia, industry kind of collaboration. You have heard Dr. Baba Kalyani, an industrialist, talking about innovation kind of thing in the country. Then I come from an academic institute. I am probably representing IITs, IASC kind of a situation. And I am not even speaking on behalf of universities because the problems in universities are much bigger compared to the problems in IITs and IISc. And so I will tell you our perspective of what are the issues right now for these institutions to actually do what everybody has been asking us to do. The expectation earlier from all of us used to be that industries would develop products, academia will do research. I think that was what it was always said about, and we believed in that. Now everyone is asking industries to do research. I think that's what industries are finding it difficult, but they are all trying to do that, and they are also asking academia to develop products. I think now whenever somebody comes to us, they say, what have you done for the society? I think writing papers, filing patents is no longer satisfying anybody right now. So we are all under some kind of a pressure to develop these products for the society. I mean, which we thought was not our mandate, it was the industry mandate. But then these are actually not the strengths of these institutions. Academia cannot develop products, industries cannot do that high quality kind of a research, and at least in the Indian context. And the best thing is to bring these two entities together. Industry and academia can collaborate and then work on futuristic products that looks like the nice solution to all of these problems. But then the problems are more serious, and I will not go through all of this because I think Dr. Saraswat mentioned many of these points. So I'll skip all this text part. I will tell you our own experiences at IIT Bombay, and since I moved from IIT Bombay to IIT Delhi only about a year ago, not even a year actually, about 9 months ago, I'll still talk in terms of the IIT Bombay activities that we did. I take the example of nanotechnology. So nanotechnology is one area where in country has invested a lot of money. In fact, this is one area, thanks to Professor C.N.R. Rao, there was quite a bit of money invested. In fact, in the Nature Nanotechnology, there was an article on India's nanotechnology research. India has invested something close to $300 million in a period of 10 years. That's substantial money by Indian standards in one single area, so which was good. And then a lot of facilities were set up and all over the country, including one at IIT Bombay and at other places. And India has also started doing very well in terms of nano research. Many of you may not know, India is ranked 3rd in the world in terms of number of papers written with nano in the title or in the paper. So with nano research in good journals, it's not even all these the kind of open access journals which are not of good quality, some of them, but these are all in Web of Science kind of index journals. India ranks 3rd in the world, so which is good. And we also have started to improve our quality of research, which is also pretty decent. But when it comes to technology development strength, people said, what have you done with all of this money that was given to you? And when it came to technology development strength, there are reports done where the nanotechnology activity, meaning there are studies which rank the nations based on the technology development strength. So when somebody ranked all these countries, India was at the bottom of this table, that we were in the minor league and we were at the bottom of the table. I mean, I can say that we are in good company of Canada, Australia, they are also not doing much, we are also not doing much, but at the end of the day, the entire impact is being made by a few countries in these areas. So investing money, doing cutting edge research is not going to solve our problem. So we need to somewhere convert that research back into money. That is something which we have not been very successful at doing. And keeping this goal in mind, at IIT Bombay, way back in 2003-2004 time frame, we went to Department of Electronics and Information Technology, and we said that we want to create facilities and we want to work on product oriented research. We will eventually judge us by what we have done for society, like what everybody is asking us. So we will work on the product oriented research. So DIT gave us money to IIT Bombay and IISc Bangalore. We set up huge facilities, and we also went to Applied Materials. Applied Materials is the world's leading semiconductor equipment manufacturer, through some of our alumni, we were able to convince them. Applied Materials invested 12.5 million US dollars at IIT Bombay in creating what they call Applied Materials Nano Manufacturing Laboratory. So we had everything going right. I mean, we had huge investment from the government. We had a major multinational participating in that. We were able to convince all Intels, IBMs, Motorola's of the world to invest little bit of money. Their projects were all $100,000 kind of projects. So we had all the nice collaborations. Everything was going fine. We also realized that to develop products, you need to develop multidisciplinary teams. So at IIT Bombay, we took extra efforts to encourage people to come and use these facilities around the Center of Excellence in Nanoelectronics. We soon had almost like 100 faculty members from something like 15 different departments coming together and working together on product-oriented ideas. So everything is right. I mean, you have money, you have multidisciplinary teams, you have industry participation. Then we said, let us now start to make a difference. Instead of just writing papers, let's start to take up problems and solve them. So we also made available the facilities to the people in the country and all of that. So that is beside the point. And then we said, let's do a top-down kind of research. How does industry actually develop products? They identify a product, they have clear definition of what the product should look like, and then they develop all the things that are required to realize that particular product. They never, like in academia, you do something and then looking for an application. So that very often we have a solution, then we are looking for a problem. But in industry, you really don't do anything like that. You identify a problem and develop a solution. The first thing we took up was a cardiac diagnostic system. We wanted to develop a 100 rupee cardiac test with which you can screen people in a MBBS clinic for cardiac problems. I mean, people who might have a heart attack, we wanted to screen them in 100 rupees in a cardiac, in an MBBS kind of a clinic, not in a specialized kind of a laboratory. So the goal was very ideal. We formed teams, we started working on it, and the projects were funded. We had to develop a kind of a platform. Remember, whatever I am talking about, these are the things which don't exist anywhere in the world. These are not cheap replication of something which is available elsewhere. These don't exist anywhere in the world. For the first time, we are trying to develop a platform and use that platform to solve a problem. And it's not like, you have something available there and you replicate it. So it's not of that kind of research, because in IITs, I thought we need to be doing, that innovation. We need to be coming up with new products and not the replication kind of an activity. I at least strongly believe that that must be the role for IITs. So we started to look at this cardiac diagnostic test, 100 rupee test for predicting the heart attacks kind of a thing. So we developed a platform based on nano. A lot of work went into that. Multiple departments, at least 6 different departments, got involved in that. And we developed all the electronics, developed the product. We went to our industrial design center at IIT Bombay, developed the product casing. We actually realized a prototype, and this is a working prototype of a cardiac diagnostic system. We demonstrated this in exhibitions, and then we even made a benchtop model of that. Then we said, now what do we do next? Then we started contacting industries, and we showed 1 or 2 prototypes, but nobody was really interested in investing money in something like that at that point of time. And we said, let's start a company. So we actually started a company called Nanosniff Technologies Private Limited at IIT Bombay, and we transferred this technology to them. Nanosniff was able to raise some money, and then they said, this is an exciting product. If we can develop it, it is $1 billion market. So they looked at the market potential, $1 billion product, a startup company. They started to get funding, but I can tell you in this country, for a technology oriented startup, the funding options are very, very minimal. I mean, despite what you want to claim, a technology startup finds it very difficult to raise investment. We also looked at the situation abroad and all of that. But another problem we faced was in IIT Bombay laboratories, we were able to make 3 or 4 devices. We were able to make 3 or 4 prototypes. But to test it in a laboratory, in a hospital, they said, you need 1,000 systems. You need, you need to make at least 10,000 kind of tests to show that it's actually working. Now to make tens of thousands of prototypes using a high technology, which you cannot buy from anywhere, which you cannot manufacture anywhere outside, because the technology were all proprietary, and we got stuck right there. I mean, where would you manufacture it? We started contacting some fabs out abroad. These are not like the CMOS foundries. These are all very specialized fabs. They said that to run 1 wafer will cost you 60 lakh of rupees. We said that's too much of money for a startup, and we were not able to raise that kind of a money, and we struggled right there. Then we went back to government and said that we want to do this, but how do we scale it? We can, in IITs, we can make prototypes 3 or 4, but how do we make thousands of such systems? Government said, you go to Sitar. We went to Sitar. Government said, go to SCL. We went to SCL. We worked with them. but things were all getting delayed and not much was happening. And then that is still that kind of situation. Then we went back to government and said that Sitar, SCL kind of foundries in the country are good, they are very specialized in doing what they are doing, but these are all new technologies. They need to absorb this new technology and they need to build teams, and it was not going to be easy. We said, can we create a prototype manufacturing facility in an academic institute? At IIT Bombay, can we create a facility which will take up these 2 or 3 prototypes and scale it up to 1,000 or 10,000 prototypes? That's the kind of a prototype manufacturing facility we wanted to create, and government agreed. I should tell you that there are good people even in Delhi. So that we went back to them and they actually said that we will give you this much of money, the 25 crore kind of rupees. We set up a prototype manufacturing facility at IIT Bombay, and then so that facility can make actually thousands of these devices in a very controlled environment. We went back to IIT and said that don't allow any students in this facility. It is in IIT, but if you allow students, then everybody wants to do what their research demands, and as a result you will never be able to make prototypes. And IIT found it very funny that how can you have a facility in IIT which is not allowed for the students. And then we had to convince the administration. IIT Bombay is again a good flexible institute, so as a result we could convince people and we could get space and we could do all of that. But unfortunately the setting up the facility of this nature took us 5 years, and we lost almost 5 years in trying to scale up from those 3 or 4 devices to those thousands of devices. And this is one problem that still exists, and we haven't really solved that problem for these high technology areas. And high technology meaning you need to make a nano device that requires the facilities and that requires processes which are like 30 to 40 processes in a very controlled kind of an environment. And then Dr. Baldev Raj, we started to talk to him. Dr. Baldev Raj said, you developed a nice platform, why don't you use it for explosive detection? And we, with his help, in fact, he drove us to actually do all of this, and we started to now use the same platform and start to look at explosive detection using this platform. So we did that, and then we worked with chemists all over the country. We did a lot of interesting things to develop that explosive detector. We again were able to build a prototype, and we were able to build a prototype, and we can demonstrate it anytime you come to IIT Bombay. You bring a sample of explosives and we can detect that explosive for you. We went to HEMRL, we went to DRDO labs, again the same story. So we were able to build prototypes and demonstrate prototypes. And around that time, NanoSniff was not going anywhere. The company to which we transferred the cardiac technology, they were struggling with the technology. We said, can you take up this technology and then make products out of it? They took it up, they tried a little bit, but they said, it's all becoming difficult. But there was an offshoot of this technology for explosive detection which worked wonders for them. They were able to actually make products out of the offshoot of what we were working at IIT Bombay, a micro heater based explosive detector. Now they are hopeful that they will be able to launch that as a product in the next 3 months. In April, they actually want to launch a sniffer based or a snipe based explosive detector at a disruptive kind of a market price. I mean, it's almost like 1/5 the cost of what you can get from abroad. So NanoSniff, became stable. The company is surviving for the past 5.5 years with 17 people working in technology areas. And the kind of struggle we all went to make the company running in an academic setup was actually not very simple. So therefore, when you talk about developing these high technology things, one of the things we need to realize is, as a country, we have not invested in the research infrastructure in these academic institutes. So we are talking all kinds of things, but we have starved these institutions for a very long time with any basic facilities. I think unless we address that, we will never be able to make actually any headway. Then we actually started to work on an electronic nose platform at IIT Bombay. Again, Dr. Baldev Raj, chased this, and we were able to build a prototype. But again, the same story. You make a prototype. How do you take from prototype to a product? We are again struggling for the past few years. And then so a lot of such innovations happened. A lot of those things now exist as prototype level, but the prototype to a product is something where the facilities become very important, the private investment becomes very important. In a nanotechnology kind of area, that is something which we have not been able to figure it out. And then so we also, for example, of late we started to use similar kind of platforms for agricultural application. And in agricultural application, we actually developed at IIT Bombay now a kind of a soil moisture sensor to reduce the water wastage in the agriculture. And here the technologies are simpler. This is not a nanotechnology that is required for cardiac diagnosis or for explosive detection. To detect the soil moisture, you just need to make a capacitive sensor. and we realized to our surprise that the agricultural institutes in the country are using a 2 lakh worth sensor for detecting soil moisture. When we went to IARI and some of the laboratories, agricultural labs, their sensors are all like couple of lakhs, for detecting soil moisture. We said we can do that indigenously. It's a simpler technology. We actually developed the technology and we gave those devices to them. Now there are multiple of these sensors working in IARI, multiple of these sensors in Sula vineyards, multiple such sensors in Hyderabad, Professor Jaishankar University. So now we think that this is a simpler technology which we can do very easily, and that we hope to now actually take it forward. And in this particular case, the technology is simpler, therefore you don't require a 20 crore, 30 crore kind of a facility, and that we filed patents and we innovated quite a bit on that. And now our students are starting a company for soil moisture sensors. They are also working on soil nutrient monitoring, which I am hopeful we will also be able to do. And using that, now the students are in the process of actually starting a company called Soil Sense Technologies Private Limited. And now there are 4 PhD students at IIT Bombay. As I speak, they are incubating a company and they want to make a market out of the soil moisture sensors in the country with the help of the Indian agricultural kind of a business. So I think that is the kind of a story. I mean, we can make prototypes, but prototype to product, since we haven't invested anything in this country for high technology manufacturing, I think that is coming in the way time and again. And unless we address that problem, unless we liberally fund these institutes to set up these facilities, unless we create more such high-tech manufacturing facilities, nothing is going to happen. We will only become a country of prototypes and everybody will make prototypes now. We were all writing papers earlier, we started filing patents, now we will build prototypes. That's not a big deal. But then beyond that, I think we are going to struggle again. And that is something as a country we need to invest money in these institutions, build facilities to really reach anywhere. I think instead of that, just blaming these institutes for not doing anything is actually not going to take us anywhere. And I can show you not so many types of prototypes that we have done. We have also started in startups. Now since everybody is saying start companies, it's not a big deal to start a company. On a mobile phone, you can actually start a company. So we started multiple companies. Now these are all technology startups. Nobody wants to fund them. Even when they want to fund for the $100,000, they want 50% equity in the company because there is a supply and demand kind of a situation. It is actually not working. And government money going to a private industry, except in the strategic sector, we haven't figured it out in the academia. Any research project you take and give that money to a private industry, you will immediately see what kind of problems institutions will create for you. So therefore, government money going to a private industry, we haven't really figured it out. And for technology kind of startups, the kind of these companies in US would have raised $20 million, $30 million kind of investment. And in this country, that whole ecosystem doesn't exist. And it's actually, currently we are not in such a great shape when it comes to technology incubation kind of activities. So this company is surviving. I am confident that the nanosniff now, after surviving for 5.5 years, now once they are able to launch the explosive detector, they should be able to make it big. And they are already selling the devices that we made at IIT Bombay. Now you can actually buy many of the devices that we developed there for a variety of applications. This is commercially available, the OmniCAN platform that we developed. And then there is another company, the Soil Sense, which is getting formed. The prototype manufacturing facility is happening at IIT Bombay as I speak. In the next 3 months, we hope to inaugurate this facility so that we can start to make these devices in tens of thousands of number, and that way we hope to scale up from a prototype to the next level. That's one thing which we are looking at. And then in the country now things are changing, but I think it still takes some time. So I personally think India is opportunities now. There are many opportunities. And we need to address the bottom of the pyramid. There are many problems, for which one can find a solution, like what I mentioned. Our R&D in academic institutions is all still driven by the North American and European models, all focused on writing a paper, nothing beyond that. I think that also needs to change. And local R&D, I believe, is very, very essential to bring down the cost of technology. Nobody is going to solve our problems at our cost points. I think we need to do it ourselves. And it's also now, once we create facilities, things should also get better. And these are some of the lessons and all that, but I think I conveyed what I wanted to convey. Thank you very much.